Kulmbacher Export.
And remember, life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I have got one here from the Kulmbacher Brewery, and this is one of their own beers because the Kulmbacher Brewery do some other makes as well, or some other brands too. They do the Mernschhoff stuff, and they also do the Eku stuff as well, and they do the Kapuziner stuff. And I don't know how it's worked out, but I've accumulated quite a few beers in the fridge from the Kulmbacher Brewery, but this is the only beer I've got that's under their brand name. And as I've just sort of alluded to, the brewery has taken over quite a few brands and they're still brewing them now. As I said, I might have said this in a couple of other reviews, but I'm probably going to say it in all of them. The only thing I can compare it to is Marston's, where they've taken over certain brands. They've kept all the same livery on the bottle, but they've just pumped out the same stuff. Now, I don't know whether this lot have changed recipes. I know for a fact Marston's have, but the stuff I've tasted so far, certainly from the Mernschhoff stuff, has been really good. The Kapuziner stuff is okay, not the best, but it's not bad, I have to say. But I've never tried one under their own name. Now, I'm assuming this is going to be the best of the lot because, you know, I do compare it to Marston's because it's pretty similar to what they've done. And I'd imagine if they've taken over these brands, their brands are going to be the best. But they've been going quite a while, and Kulmbacher were originally founded in 1895. I have seen stuff being alluded to that they were around before then. There's a blog that's around at the moment on the internet, and it's really good. If you love your beer history and just love beer trivia, I'll suggest you check it out. Do a search for Shut Up About Barclay Perkins. Just put that in there, and there's a fella, I don't know who he is, but he does that blog. But there is an absolute fucking goldmine of information there about beer history. I look at that all the time. Probably what most of you are seeing on here, certainly about the history of styles of beer. A lot of good information comes from him. He has got an absolute goldmine of stuff that he puts out there, and I think he's writing a book at the moment as well. So I don't know who it is, but whoever you are, if you ever watch this or find this, well done, mate. I do respect everything you do. And he also, if you're into your home brewing as well, he puts lots of recipes up there and they look really good. But that's for another thing. But yeah, check him out. Shut Up About Barclay Perkins. Well worth checking out. Anyway, as I said before, these have taken over a few brand names. This is the first one I've had from them. I don't really want to go into it because I'm going to be talking about this brewery quite a lot in the next few German beer videos. So let's just get on to this one here. Right, 500ml bottle. It is their export, and I'm assuming it's a Helles. Doesn't say what style of Helles. And fucking annoyingly, they've put translations of the ingredients in German. They put them in Italian. They put them in fucking French as well. Why would you do that? They don't drink fucking beer. They drink wine. I don't know why you're trying to sell that shit to them. Sell it over here. But it's a 500ml bottle. It's 5.4%. I don't know what, I've not had a drink. Oh, I have actually. I had the Index Bock, Bergbock Hell. That was absolutely amazing stuff. 6.9%, and it went down like it was going out of fashion. It was absolutely gorgeous. That got a 10 out of 10. Don't know whether this is going to hold up to that or not, but we'll see. This is a Bavarian brewer, in case I hadn't told you that. There's the authentic EU geographical status on that one. Würzig, mild in Geschmack. That basically means mild and spicy in the flavour. And that is about it, really. It's an export lager. Let's get it open, see what's going on. This came from I think they're called the Bavarian Beer Company, and they were all reasonably cheap. And the reason they were cheap is because they're all from Kulmbacher, and they must be like I wouldn't say a cut price brand, but they've taken over a few. So again, I'm going to fucking repeat this again, but they do remind me what they've done of Marston's. Now, when I say they remind me of Marston's, I don't mean the quality of the beer that Marston's do. I'd imagine, well, they are. The Mernschhoff stuff is pretty good. Let's see what this looks like. God, fucking hell. That smells okay, but just comparing it to the Andex stuff that I've just tried, another Bavarian monastic brewer, this doesn't smell as good. It hasn't got that lovely yeasty honey aroma and the lovely sweet malt, sweet Munich and Pilsner malts. The aromas aren't that great either. I'll say they're not that big. They're not that great and they're not that big. There it is in the glass. Straw colour. 2.5 finger, foamy white head. Lots of carbonation. Oh, maybe there's a little bit of Hallertau or noble hop character coming through there now. Earthy, peppery. A little bit of sweetness on there too. I don't know whether that was just the yeast that had built up in the bottle. Shouldn't have done. But, yeah. Smells okay-ish, but maybe I've been spoilt just, you know, drinking that Andex stuff. But proof is, as I say, is always in the tasting. So let's get this down the hatch. Zum Wohl, as they say in Germany. Not bad. Quite a bit more earth and spice on this than there is on... I really shouldn't be comparing it to the Andex stuff. But there's a lot more hop character coming through on this one. Before, the Andex stuff was more about the yeast, the sweet yeast, and then lovely sweet malts as well. This is quite nice though, I have to say. Whoa. Yeah. Almost Pilsner-like on the finish with the... It's more earth than there is spice on that. There's a little touch of sweetness too. Little honey sweetness, but this is more hoppy than anything. But when I say hoppy, I don't mean American style hops. I'm talking German noble hop type character on this. It goes down quite nice actually, I have to say. This is a definite chugger, this one. You could throw gallons of this stuff down your neck and it would be a competition between your legs going or you throwing up, because it's very moorish, super drinkable, lovely mouthfeel despite all that carbonation. Here, look at that in the glass. It looks like a lot of carbonation, doesn't it? They're very, very small bubbles, if you can see that. and that you just get the minimal hint of that carbonation in the mouth. I'd say it was just enough to push the flavour around. That's really nice. But again, as I say, it's reminded me of a Pilsner. Now, I don't know whether they've just called it an export beer. But that really does remind me of a Pilsner. It's got a little bit of a dry finish. Big earthy notes on that too. And that's really what you get in the flavour. Don't get me wrong, there is some sweet malt. On the initial gulp in the mouth, you do get reasonably big, sweet type Bavarian malt, coupled with that yeast, that little bit of honey sweetness that comes from the yeast. But this is dominated by the finish that is that big earth. Little herbal notes as well, but it's big earth. And a little touch of spice on there too, but this is more earthy than anything else. I'll tell you what though, it goes down very nicely indeed. Really good. Yeah. It just gets nicer as it goes down as well. Yeah, I could see me drinking quite a lot of that stuff. As I say about these Bavarian brewers, the competition down there is very stiff indeed, and Kulmbacher are quite a big brewer. If you look at they have two websites. They've got one that explains about their beer, but they've also got one that is just, it's about the careers you can have at the brewery. They are a share company, an Actian brewery. So there's a whole section on their financial situation, and there's a lot on the ethics of the brewery and the history of the brewery as well. So they've got two separate websites, which was a bit confusing. I was looking at the first one and it was just about the company. They didn't even mention the beer on that. And I thought, this is a bit weird. A brewer not listing their beer on their website. And that's what sort of put me in mind that this might be a bit crap. But it isn't. This is really nice actually. Absolutely no complaints. A really nice German export beer. So what's the verdict on Kulmbacher Export? Yeah, that's a nice beer. I do like that. It's got a lot of the noble hop character on that. Quite a bit of earth and spice on the finish, and that dominates more or less all of it. You do get a little bit of sweetness on the initial gulp, and that gives way to just big earth, a little bit of spice on there, but the earth is what remains, and I quite like it. Super drinkable, very nice mouthfeel, not much in the way of obtrusive carbonation, and yeah, it's one of them beers. It's a chugger. I could see myself gulping bottles of this stuff down. It would be very nice indeed, especially on a warm day. It would just not stand a chance. But yeah, I'm impressed with that. That's not bad, and it's cheap as well. I think it was about $2.60 or something like that. And for that price, I would rather drink that than a £5 can of Cloudwater Helles, or lager as they call it, because that is just, well, it's just on a different level to that. I understand about it. I'm not slagging craft brewers off, but for what they charge when it comes to lager, if you're not competing with the Germans, forget it. I wouldn't bother. Just stick to your IPAs, because I am going to be buying that any day of the week over your craft brewed lagers. It's very few craft brewed lagers that I think I would really go out my way to buy, if any, to be honest, when there's this stuff around. But yeah, I love it. That's going to get an 8.5 out of 10. I really like that. Don't get me wrong, it's not the best lager to come out of Germany, but it's really nice, and for the price, I think 8.5, solid 8.5 is a fair mark. It's good. I like it. And remember, beer is working class champagne.